Are you going to stick through the super chat reading at the end?
If Actual Justice Warrior posted it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's just attached at the end because this is his version of the stream.
Okay. I might skip the super chats. I don't know. A lot of the times the audience in these, like, they throw stuff in, and if they're not reading them kind of as they go, then you start to read all the super chats at the end and you're like, wait, what the hell was that in response to? Like, and this happens to me too, because you got a character limit on your super chats, right? So you're like trying to make it fit, but you have like a specific thing you want to say. And so that you end up making it word a little weird. And then when they read it, they're like, what the fuck does that mean? And you're like, fuck, I
Yeah.
knew I should have used a period.
No, I knew I should have made it $5 instead of 2. Damn it.
Yeah, I should have spent that extra $3 just so he understood me.
No, I know what you mean. I've super chatted to a lolly stream we called Shota the Shogun of Harlem before.
Did he do it?
Yeah, but I don't think he understood.
He ain't the Shogun of Harlem then, I guess.
Specific things.
Even
Again,
though it doesn't
killers,
have.
Oh, also, we'll probably talk to more in the React meta, but I watched a little bit of the XQC stream, and it's pretty funny because X is just saying like, "Oh, Hassan, are you with someone who believes this? Let's pull up your shit." And he starts pulling up Hassan clips where Hassan's just sitting there watching JCS videos. It's like, yep, he's
Yeah,
got
they're
some
all the
stones he's
same.
throwing. Might not be able to stay on this stream. You want to listen to music, calm you down after playing Sonic Frontiers? Go listen to some music and relax, George Trahan. You've earned it. You played Sonic Frontiers. Go King.
Have it on
that
other.
hold up the house of the criminal justice system. So those need to be
Okay.
changed. But yeah, so it depends. There are some reversals. I think those reversals are good. But
What were we in the middle of here? What? Hold on, let me look at this.
They're talking about the criminal justice system.
No shit.
Specifically the special victims unit. These are their stories.
These are their stories. 52. Okay, they're talking about how things have changed in specifically New York, claiming that it's a drop, but it's not a drop. It's still higher. So they're talking about the things that are occurring in the city beyond that.
Oh yeah.
That'll be the next step.
But in places where they're doubling down, like Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, they're
Oh, I
still
forgot
at
a cup.
record homicides, and not record in comparison to 2019.
Watch this. Watch this
Record
crazy thing. I'm gonna pause it, and I'm gonna go get a cup so I can pour my sake. I'll be right
Alright.
back.
All right, last one. We got number 3. Who's number 3? We got Levy
All right, I'm back.
Garden. Can I get some number 3s?
Drink it from the bottle? It's not in a bottle. It's in a carton. That'd be super weird to like chug from the carton in the little like hole thing the whole time.
all
Thank
time,
you for the
worse
number
than the
3,
1990s.
Geminire.
The favorite talking point of the crime denialist.
The okay.
Crime denialist.
The
Yes, people who deny crime.
He's
Yes.
stuttering
What do
so
you mean
much
by
now.
deny crime?
That they'll try to
Don't give him these opportunities. This is what people need to realize. If you're gonna talk to Sam Cedar, you can't bring something up where he's able to sort of like ask you a question to dive into it. You have to only speak from a position where this is a thing you cannot ask me. And if he asks you a question on it, you have to be like, are you serious, Sam? Why do you tell me what that means? Because it's a normal word that everybody uses. As soon as you start to get into these like different concepts, he tries to play dumb every damn time.
Just be like, I think you can figure out what that means, Sam.
Yeah,
I think you understand what that means.
I think what would you have called a person who didn't believe in the COVID, right? What would you call them? A denialist, because some people just deny things in their lives.
Yeah.
It's just how they want to live.
minimize and deny that the increase is happening. Do what you did with marijuana arrests, where you assert that it's possibly due to arresting bias. even though that's not how we measure crime. We measure crime in reports, and then we do victimization surveys, and then we have homicide statistics. We're actually really good at measuring crime. So pointing out arresting bias is a denial
Well, wait a
tactic.
second. You just said like we're really good at measuring crime, but
Yes.
if you see the statistics are trending down, they're really that's not.
I didn't say
relevant.
they're nothing. I said that they're there, but they're within a range that we have now gotten into a new normal. So they're good. I'm always going to root for crime to go down. But what I'm interested in is getting to that all-time low way back in time in that
All-time
far-out
low.
year of
Everybody loves that band,
2019.
right?
And I think you have to institute the policies that existed in 2019.
You kind of want to say you don't believe in COVID, so I can then get weird looks when I tell them I'm actually a COVID agnostic. Yeah.
There may be a COVID. I don't know.
And again, it feels so like I know that that's like his show, so like he's got it, it's produced, he's got his team. You call in knowing he's got a team, but it really does just feel like kind of scummy when, and this happens all the time in online debates when they got like their little Discord room in the background that's like feeding them data and stuff, and you're like, just why can't you have this argument and you just say, you know what, I don't know, maybe I don't know. Just say it.
2019, and I think you have to institute the policies that existed in 2019. We have
Bear or no bear in China? No, what's the... You talking about Pooh Bear?
Probably.
Are you talking about the Chinese Pooh Bear?
Dude, we're trending up. Let's go. In the day between starting this video and ending this video, my stocks have gone from doing kind of meh to doing great. Let's go.
Nice. We win in here, boys.
Yeah, stay winning.
Is it
You can
across
do
the
it too.
board winning? Hold on.
It's just the one that matters.
Well, I'm just wondering if mine are looking all right too, or if it's just a you.
Well, this was the only one that was down since I bought it, and now it's like significantly up.
I see. Get blamed trending somehow? Yeah, trend me up. No, I'm down 0.6 today.
Damn. Yeah, it's probably no. So the thing is, PG&E is like a company everyone hates in California, but they have a monopoly on energy here.
Yeah,
and
that
so
makes
when
sense.
like they caused a bunch of California fires, their stock dropped a shit ton. But like they still have a monopoly on fucking energy here, so why wouldn't I buy the stock? You know, like they're on all-time low. They like we're still forced to use them, and now they're up. It's great.
Oh no. Come on, Raven, keep dodging. Don't kill him.
Yeah, you're supposed to equip an axe, and also not throw him into combat.
I didn't realize he was gonna die if I threw him on the front line.
we haven't even talked about incarceration. You know that prison population is declining in the United States of America,
Dodge,
and that
yes.
also seems to be tied to the increase in crime.
Not in Connecticut.
Not in Connecticut in terms of population decreasing, or
No, not in Connecticut in terms of as their prison.
These bears are hilarious. The sun bear, they're one of the weirdest looking little bears you'll ever see. They actually are bears. They're not like this camera angle makes it kind of look like a bear suit, but they're they really are goofy ass looking bears. They're also not very big.
Yeah, I saw that and thought it was a bear. I don't know what people are talking about.
Here's a sun bear walking.
Hey, honey!
What are you doing?
I'm getting rid of my.
Oh wait, no, not
A human.
not this one.
Named
They're taking in
Oh my gosh,
the
come on,
smells.
wrong one.
Ooh,
Give me the other one.
Berenstein bears.
This one? Yeah, look at him. They just do that. Such goofy ass looking bears. When I went to the zoo with some friends and I knew this bear was around the corner and I was like, oh, let's go look at the bear around the corner. My one friend gets within sight of this damn thing and just starts dying of laughter because they look like somebody took like a panther and a dude and were just like, it's kind of like a bear. They're
Dude.
so goofy.
Someone needs to offer to picnic a basket.
Exactly. He wants it. He wants his picnic basket. Probably because they're malnourished.
No, it's
No, that's just what they look like. They're huge. That's for sure.
just throw down with one.
Yeah. I always wonder, animals don't really have a sense of like a fighting sense.
Yeah, you could probably beat it.
I think if you get like a solid punch to like a good spot on a bear, you can really you can do a lot of damage and get it to turn around and go the other way,
Yeah.
And the only issue you have is if you're in between it and like mama bear and her cubs. Like, don't get between the two. But like
Yeah.
we get black bears all the time, and all you do is shout at them, and you're like, "Get out of here, go!" And they run for it. They book. They don't want to hang out. They aren't there for fighting. But depends on the bear. Polar bear won't give a shit if you show
all
up.
these reforms, and crime is also dropping dramatically in
you clearly
Connecticut. How do
haven't
you explain
seen
that?
or
I would have to
heard
look
of
up the
polar
crime
bear
stats for the
police
state
force.
of for Connecticut, because you tell me that a
Well,
4%,
here, let me,
a 4% decrease after a dramatic increase is a dramatic drop, and that's just not true. But I'll look it up.
Well, let me just pull this up. I have
Is
this somewhere here.
A
The
drop,
story about Connecticut.
suppose.
It's pretty dramatic. People are pretty excited in Connecticut. My understanding. Here, let me get that for you.
I'm surprised you don't know these
You
numbers.
wouldn't risk it with a grizzly bear? See, grizzly bears are like only an issue if you encounter one and it doesn't know you're on the way. You literally just have to tie a bell around your shoe and you'll never have an issue with the grizzly bear. I am 1,000 times more scared of mountain lions if I'm out hiking than I am a bear. Like that.
Well, yeah.
A bear, they're big, they're noisy, they're dumb, like they can tear shit up, but they're so obvious. A mountain lion, you'll just be dead. You'll just be walking and then you're dead. You don't get a chance.
Oh, you're scared of a mountain lion on a mountain, eh?
Yeah, fucking bitches are crazy. Look at him. They look like they're just pissed off and ready to eat you.
Yeah, they are.
Are mountain lions aggressive? They're rare. That is true. It is pretty rare because usually they have enough food that they don't really worry about humans. But if they get hungry enough, a biker is just it's like us open up what are those nuts that you like peel them apart?
Pistachios?
Pistachio, yeah. Bicyclist helmet's just a pistachio shell to them. Bear, you just scream like a spurg. What do you do with a cougar? You just die. They used to teach us grab a stick and make yourself look big, but if a cougar or mountain lion is hungry enough, they'll just eat you anyway. They'll do whatever. You prefer bobcats? Yeah. Bobcats are awesome. Their stupid little tails, just adorable.
What are the floppy-eared ones?
The floppy-eared ones? I don't
they're
know.
like obviously cats, but they have the giant ears. They're all on TikTok.
What? Floppy-eared cat?
Yeah, just look up floppy-eared cat on YouTube.
Oh, probably this one. A caracal? This guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the caracal. That's the desert cat. Where else do they live?
I don't know, but I like it.
So caracal, the reason I know it's a desert cat is because there was a company that... So Glocks are cool guns because they have very few parts. There's not a lot to go wrong with them. And a company was like, what if we made even fewer parts? And they made this gun that's not that good, but they called it the caracal. So I had to learn what a fucking caracal was to try to sell it to people. Native to Africa, Middle East, Central Asia, areas of Pakistan. Hey, we learned about Pakistan yesterday. And northwestern India. Carnivore. So that's where they live. They live not quite in the deserts, but like near the deserts. I always called it the desert cat because gun guys like desert tan and other cool gun guy talk like that. A lynx could be a lynx
Look
as
out
well.
for those Pegasus because they're ballista up top.
Oh, these guys here.
Yeah. See,
Um,
you're just
um,
outside range.
I'm right there. I'm about to make a mad dash for ballista in this next round. Can I do anything here? Is this gonna... No, it's not gonna help anybody. We'll see. Continue, Sam.
You can look that up too. I think it's a pretty well-known story. I'm surprised that I anticipated that you would know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know every single state in the union offhand.
Okay. I mean, Connecticut's right next door.
Dude,
Don't be so snippy with me, Sean. I've got a team working on this right now.
My Connecticut story.
Where's my Connecticut
Bear
story?
with me one
Dude
second.
will
What?
dead
In the
ass
mean-
say.
What is he looking for? Like, what is he browsing through a tablet? Is he looking at a computer? Is he staring at a teleprompter? Because he's like up and down with his eyes. He's up and down with his hands and fingers. He's like, oh, where's this? Is he flipping through pages? Does
You
he
know
have
something crazy,
packets?
though?
What?
Bear
Sean
with me one
said,
second.
I think
In the
that's
meantime,
actual Justice Warrior's name. He said that
It
he
is,
could
Sean.
see the entire all the background people.
Oh, like they're all in the Zoom call or something?
Yeah, he could see them all.
Oh, that's funny. So he literally, it's not a surprise to him when we hear them talking in the background.
Yeah, he can see the unpersoned voice.
What a goof.
time.
Got a
What's that?
binder
Oh,
called
that's
The
it.
Narrative, but he's gone off the page. Hold on, let me get talking point A12 here.
Since 2012. Reported crime, mostly burglaries, fell by 29% during that period. But get me that. Get me the. I had.
Give me the thing.
He's like, oh,
This
it's fresh
is,
to hear about this
from,
story.
oh,
It's
this
a,
is from
it's a pretty
yesterday.
big deal.
July
The story.
27th.
It's literally from yesterday.
In 1999, Connecticut had so many people in prison, it had to send 500 of them to be incarcerated to Virginia. That's part of the story there. The state's rate of 155 people in prison per.
Imagine
100,
how many people are in prison that you have to
residents is now
send
the
some
ninth lowest in the country,
to another
well below
state.
The national average of
Poor
350 people per 100,000. Violent crime decreased 43% from 2012 to 2021. Property crime sank 29% during the same period. The state unleashed a range of changes. This is under Governor Malloy in 2011.
Governor
So, I mean,
Malloy.
it's a long-term trend. State unleashed
Okay.
a range of changes,
no.
including repealing the death penalty, bumping the age at which juveniles could be charged as adults from 16 to 18 for most crimes. I think you were against that one in New York.
Yes.
Eliminating some sentencing guidelines that affected predominantly people of color. They have now been able
Oh,
to
it's
close, I think,
paper. He's actually reading paper because he just did the old guy thing where he's like to like flip it, like turn the page, like.
You think he just printed out a shit ton of titles of articles?
Oh, 100%. He's a voice actor, right? Like he
Yeah.
literally is just reading the lists. Okay.
One more to go. Yeah, you got the. You
Oh,
got
I
the
must have
first-
already gotten the other one. So if
Yeah,
I go to
weird.
status, that'll show me that I have points?
No,
No.
no, you
It
just,
just
gotta keep
keeps
track.
saying earn 3. Got it.
Yeah, I thought that might happen, but I wasn't sure.
Can I make it with you? Sam's getting that paper. But it's a paper in a binder, and it does have the narrative written on it. Old guy thing? Yeah, where they don't stick out their whole tongue to like just like lick your finger real quick like a normal ass human. They kind of like they gotta like reach into their mouth to touch their tongue. They won't come out. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Everyone can picture the like the grandfather elf, grandpapa elf from the Elf movie doing that exact motion. You know exactly what I mean. You know what I mean?
A
Exactly.
bunch of prisons.
Bunch of
He said,
prisons.
this is Malloy, who's now, I guess, a
Okay, I'm gonna sit on
chancellor of
this.
the University of Maine system. Not only had the state built too many prisons, but had a mix of old buildings and new prisons built for maximum punishment instead of facilities where people could be rehabilitated.
You never watched Elf?
In 2016, Malloy, they went to
Listen
prisons
to
in
this.
Germany, and they came back and they did this. I would imagine you would hate this.
It's
It
Bob
led to the
Newhart
creation of
as
a
the
true
Papa
unit
Elf.
at a correctional facility, truthfulness to oneself and others, respectfulness towards the community, understanding and
God,
elevating
movie's so
into
good.
success. It was all programs to mentor people, and they have been sending less people to prison, and they have less crime.
So why would you think I would hate?
Before Sean gets into if this is working there, then awesome, which is just my guess as to what he would say, because only makes sense that if it works somewhere, let it continue to work there.
Yeah, but
Before
this
we get
dude-
to that, I got a real question here with if we're not arresting people for crimes, are we still tracking the crime?
Yes, that's what Sean was saying, because we track it by reports, not by arrests.
Okay.
But even then, why would you start that sentence off about rehabilitation by saying, "I imagine you would hate this"? Like, the fucker is wrong with you. You know nothing about his positions.
And also it's such a giveaway for the issue with like the whole left right divide, the way that people debate is they auto assume the other person's the same kind of NPC that they are. Like, I could probably write the script for a Sam Cedar side of the debate, but I admitted when we started this, I actually don't know how Sean's policy prescriptions would line up, because I don't know enough about it, and I don't want to like stick him into one camp or the other when all he's had to do for most of his stuff is just say like, oh, let's have less crime. So I'm interested. We'll see.
Yeah,
Continue.
but even the point, like, knowing that alone, rehabilitation is supposed to prevent crime. So, like, why would he be against that ever?
I have no idea. It's just someone who does no idea. He doesn't know. He just doesn't know. He
Why
just
would
isn't
he
paying
know?
attention. He's not listening. He's not doing research on like his guests. He just is saying, "Oh, guy who thinks this bad. Let me put him in this bucket." Because you know how Sam loves buckets.
Yeah, he likes buckets.
He's a bucket boy.
You said I was guzzling buckets and buckets of...
You said if he was black, I would guzzle buckets of cum straight from his cock. God, it's so funny.
And you did.
A rehabilitation program.
It just seems super soft.
No, first of all, I want to do smart things on crime. I don't want to just be cruel for no reason. If you told
I
me,
think
if you
that's
told
good to hear.
anybody in this country that you could take a criminal and make them a productive member of society, they would sign up for that easy.
True.
Do you
Obviously.
think
But the
that
problem is,
overly policing
is
areas
that rehabilitation programs have bad data around them. One of the things that I'll actually commend London Breed for over in San Francisco is in a recent emergency crime bill, she actually pushed for, studying the way that these programs work. Now, in terms of the state of Connecticut, they might have had the crime drop, according to you. I'll take your word for it. But I
Was he about to disagree with the idea about being cruel without reason? He wanted to be cruel with reason. Yeah, I could definitely see him getting a little debate brainy.
do want to point out that the report that you're highlighting, a big editor's note in it, in the, not 23.4%. So it's had
That
a
was me.
dramatic increase in clearance in the unsolved crimes.
Okay.
So there are problems, but not like everything has a marginal utility. So just because increasing prison population to a certain point can reduce crime doesn't mean you will continually benefit in crime reductions just by arbitrarily increasing the prison population.
We by sending less people to prison, and
Sean starts to make a point. Sam tries to talk over him at numerous points. Sean is doing this without a team behind him. Yeah. Well, I mean, Sean, let's not be trite with this. Sean is a one-man army when it comes to crime stats. They're like, the team exists and it's all Sean. Like, it's just this, like, you know, in the Marvel, there's the council of Reeds, or in Rick and Morty, there's the council of Ricks. That's just what happens in Sean's head. He's just like, yep, here's all of the me's that all know what's going on. We'll decide this at the next meeting point. Kang. Yeah, he is a one-man army. So let's not pretend that he's fighting alone here.
Crime reducing. I don't know if there's a causality there, but it seems to be a long-term trend. You're saying that impacts the clearance rates.
No, I just said that their clearance rates are up. It's not all rosy. I'm looking at this like Lamont
Well, but
report, or however you
why
pronounce it.
why would that affect their clearance rates?
Well, I didn't say well, maybe some of the reforms or
3
losing
to 10,
officers
1
like
to
Nationwide
2?
Trends would affect their
You
clearance rate.
think
I didn't say
that
decreasing the
maybe.
prison population did. You just cited all this positive data from the state of Connecticut. I pull up the report that you're referring to, and they're like, listen, there is a caveat. The police are actually less productive
Oop,
in the
I'm
state
too
of
close.
Connecticut, which could be attributed to some, not all of the reforms. I'm not saying the prison population
Monday.com makes
Oh, Monday.com.
again. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say again because they never were. And
reduction necessarily makes officer clearance rate going down.
It's such a hard thing. Like, you can really feel for Sean every time he opens his mouth, where he's like, I'm trying to explain this to a 2-year-old that it is more than just one input go in, one input come out. However, we need to admit that certain inputs lead to certain results. And just seeing him try to, like, work his way through that with someone who is like, well, but you said that input was important. It's like, on top of all the other inputs.
No, you don't understand. Only one can be important at a time. Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
can't handle more than one input. Stop it. I only have a huge team.
I'm just pointing out that this is happening. Like, this
How
is
does
also happening in the state
reducing
of
the
Connecticut.
number of incarcerated individuals inhibit the?
Did I not just say I'm not saying that reducing the
Okay,
prison
you just brought it
population-
up when I was talking about some other
We were talking about
topic, and it seems
Connecticut
that-
overall,
okay.
and you were painting a very rosy picture of the state of Connecticut.
I think the crime being down 25% is
I think it
pretty
is a good
rosy,
thing. I'm-
even if
I'm
the
very
clearance
happy
rates
about
are not as high. Because
I'm very happy about
theoretically,
that.
there's two reasons why you want higher clearance rates, right?
Mm.
One is presumably because you want to take people off the streets who have committed a crime.
Ooh.
A, because they've committed a crime, but B, you don't want them to commit a second crime.
Yes.
And B, obviously, for
Steal
some type of
axe.
closure for the victims. But we do see significant drops in crime as we have less incarcerated people, and these reforms, which you had said you had a problem with. But let's
I do have a problem
let's
with
get
it,
to the
but
causes
again-
of crime. Let's get to the causes of crime. I think
Oh,
we've-
yes, we get
we've
back into
examined this.
causality.
Your-
Well, Sam,
are
again,
two
I
different
said,
arguments of-
I said this a million times. Pillars in a building.
Steel weapons aren't great, but they've been very useful for this playthrough.
Mhm.
You can knock down one pillar, but if Connecticut has other things institutionally that are working to reduce crime, then that might not bring down the whole building.
So in this instance,
But
you're
nice
saying,
pulling out one specific state after coming down on me for doing that
it's
about
just,
cities and all
it was
that.
just an article I
repeatedly throughout this
found that
whole,
was in the
show.
news.
No, I just googled it a couple days ago. Don't worry, I was
days
I
ago,
only
so that's
printed
why.
it out.
Fuck.
I don't know what you want me to say.
like, look at this guy. Sam can't remember words that came out of his own mouth last week when he's talking to Stitch and Adam, but Sean can say, earlier in this thing, you just like accused me of this, and now you're doing the exact same thing. That's what I like. I'm sorry. It's not a. This is 2 different weight classes right now, and the biggest piece of ass is I saw Sean posted some of the chats, and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? The people
Yeah.
that are in Sam Cedar's corner, they are holding the buckets. They're swimming in the buckets. They're contributing to the buckets. They are team bucket, man. It is
Yeah, they're really holding down the fort.
like it's the same kind of chatter that you see saying that XQC is based and cool and awesome guy for saying that Hassan is also bad reactor. It's like you guys are all the same like feverish audience.
Yeah, y'all are bad.
There, but let's talk about the other thing that you wanted to discuss, and that was the excusing of crime by blaming poverty.
Yes.
I will admit that I did not see this exchange with you and Emma, and I did not ask her. I've never heard her say that I excuse crime because of poverty. I
sure?
suspect that she would argue, at least in part, that crime is a function of poverty.
Ugh.
Right? Not you get out of jail free if you're poor and you've committed a crime.
Are there people laughing in the background there?
Yeah.
You live in poverty, but rather that crime is a function of poverty. I would imagine that's what she was saying. And
No, specifically when I brought up that 327 people in the city of New York are arrested for a third of the shoplifting arrests in the city of New York, which represents over 6,000 arrests, she said that those people are the most desperate and they're doing it because they need to survive or to sustain their lives. Or
So in other
something
words,
to that
that
effect. So
poverty-
that sounds like an excuse to me. So yes, that would be excusing crime with the poverty excuse.
to me, it sounds like an argument as to what is driving.
That's not an excuse. It's a reason.
We're here. It's this chapter.
What
Stay
is this
winning, boys,
chapter?
but we're here.
What happens this chapter? Do I get pent finally?
Maybe.
Okay.
Crime, but like I say, I'm not familiar
Well,
with that.
I argued, and I'll argue here.
What do you
that
think
the fact that
is-
we're not able to hold repeat offenders is what is causing that. If you locked up those 327 people, guess what? You have a third of the retail theft arrests gone because they keep committing the crime.
How many people would you have to lock up to make sure that you got the right 327?
Well, it would be
327.
for that specific issue, it would be the 327 that are arrested a grand total.
Yeah, we know who
of
they are,
6,000
dumbass.
times.
Yeah, we keep arresting them. It's not a. This isn't a
How many
good
people
question.
would you have to lock up to figure out who are the right ones? We know who the right ones are. What are you
Like they
talking
should be
about?
entitled to a trial and presumed innocent until proven. However, I think if you're getting arrested for the same crime multiple times, it's a pretty good chance that you're doing the crime.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Seems like iffy reasoning.
Every time I've been pulled over for speeding or been pulled over because my tabs were expired, I was probably doing the crime. And it just keeps on happening.
Man, wouldn't your life be better if you're incarcerated, Blaine?
I mean, there would be less tickets, I guess, but I guess I'm part of the revenue generating.
Wouldn't it be better if the government appropriated your money and your possessions for their own gain?
God, I hate that. That's the worst thing in the world. What is that called? The
Civil asset forfeiture.
Yeah, that needs to go away forever.
I just found you while I think you're in the process of committing a crime. I'll help myself to this couple $1,000s here.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, sorry.
It's ridiculous
we
that that's
lost
what
it. Yeah, we lost it. I don't know what happened to it. Just don't have
And
it
it's
anymore.
gone.
Veritag's a
And it's
utilitarian
gone.
argument.
All right, we'll invest a
The-
little bit, and it's gone.
If they're so poor, they'll get fed in prison, right?
It's true. They can make food in prison.
They probably also have big screen TV in prison.
It's everything they want.
Yeah.
They can even sneak a phone in.
No rent. Yeah, they just keister a phone and they're good. Oh, that's
I
hilarious.
put the song in your chat here.
I saw it, but I didn't want to play it just in case.
You all listen to it though a little bit.
Yeah, I listened.
I'm in a drive through a Burger
It's playing through.
Can I
by
please
the
get
way.
get a number 2 with a large drink? I'm tolerant, I don't sip milk. If I don't cheese, I don't want that. And I'm getting hungry now. I know you heard that. Wait,
This needs to be
The growl
paired
was
up
from the song, yeah.
with "Stuck in the Drive-Thru" by Weird Al.
Also, that's the parody version actually, but it's pretty good. I like it
Oh, survive map. I hate these maps.
because you can't survive. You're really bad at that.
They're so annoying. Because I just want to keep going and killing, and sometimes you have to not do anything. You got to back up and wait.
You got to use strategy.
You have to use strategy in all of it. But I like, listen. You put one general in Africa smashing Romlin and his tanks, whatever his name is. You put a different general in the boats in Japan. I'm just saying. Archers, bows for archers, and swords for swordsmen. All right?
You shouldn't let your archers have bows. You should probably just bench them.
I swear, sweet Jesus.
Also, yeah, this is a hard map.
Cool.
Except for the fact you get pent, it makes it easier.
I knew it! Weren't there two generals in Africa, Montgomery and Patton? Oh, I'm sure. I was just being, like, general. Get it? Didn't.
I'm gonna go
What's
to
his?
bed.
It's
I'm
Rommel. His name is Rommel, right?
Yes, there was a general called Rommel. I'm assuming it was the guy that was in Africa, but I have no idea.
The German field marshal. Yeah. It is. All right, you gotta go to bed.
I'm gonna go to open in the morning.
Okay.
Got up like
Alright.
4 a.m.
Yeah, he got early.
Oof.
Later.
That was me this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go to bed pretty soon. See ya.
So, yep.
So it'd be
what-
the
So
327.
when
would
would
be the
you
number.
lock them up and throw away the key to save from the shoplifting?
Well, it wouldn't be. It would be charge
What
them
the heck
seriously.
kind of
hold
map
them
is this?
in waiting for their trial, and then convict them, prosecute them seriously. Yes.
But you're saying if we lock up those 327 essentially
Yes.
and don't let them out, we're going to have less shoplifting. That's
Yes.
what you're saying, right? All right.
So is the
Now,
idea
you don't
that
know the
I
data set.
When do
survive?
you know that it's those
What's
327?
the issue here?
The
What are
first
you
time they
trying
shop-
to think?
Well, I'm just wondering, like, because there's this. Usually, I'm trying to like protect a throne, which would make me think that I need to protect this
Yeah.
castle. But all my guys are
No,
so far
so-
from the castle, it feels like it's not that.
So throne maps are called defend maps. So you're defending.
Oh,
the
this
throne.
one's just survival.
Survive
maps.
maps just mean you need to have like as many units as possible survive until the time limit. But also, you're about to get a very nice item. Did his chapter already start? No, it didn't. Right.
No. I'm doing.
So maybe
the,
leave a spot open on Lynn or Hector. Definitely on Hector. Probably on Lynn too, because you might want to use it on her.
okay. Trying to think if I want. I don't know if I want Kent in this, but who else would I pick? Lucius?
There's actually a I was
Oh, there's
looking at
Farina.
the Tenma AI version of the drive-through at Burger King song.
What? Freaking AI. How many times does Logic say is biracial in the song, DR?
Uplift?
No, I mean, well, I'm talking about repeat offenders, so it would be when
Okay.
they have repeat.
That's what I'm
offenses.
asking. How many? So two
Two.
shoplifting offenses
Yeah,
gets
you
you
just-
locked up for as
Well,
long
you
as
have
we
one
should
to twice,
prosecute
that means you die,
shoplifting
right?
and retail theft seriously.
Say what?
If you shoplift twice, that means you die, right?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
means you go to jail
Shoplifting,
forever.
death.
That means you go
I
to jail
got it.
forever.
I'm with it. I'm here for it. Shoplift, die. Don't shoplift. Don't take other people's shit. Doesn't seem that difficult to me. If you don't want Kent, you should bring Isadora instead. I don't think I want Heath either.
No, I mean you can just let her die then, or you can
Let-
train up Bartra right now.
You've been telling me not to use Bartra like the whole time, and now you're like,
No,
oh, use
Serrano's
Bartra.
has. I want you to get him level 5 promoted.
Level 5 promoted. What's he at? 4.
He's
not.
at level 4 unpromoted.
Yeah, that's gonna take me all freaking day.
Yeah, you won't do it.
No, I won't do it. You figured me out. Serranos also says I can't promote Hector on this map, so don't bother.
You still need to open up a slot for him to get the item, I think. Unless it comes on someone else, which it might.
Okay, well, I'll just get his brave axe off.
Yeah, it's fair.
From the jump. The idea that this is a victimless crime is nonsensical. But let's say if you're arrested for 5 times, which by the way, again, it's 6,000 spread over 327 people, then we don't let you out without bail. Like a judge would be able to have judgment to determine that you are
Wow,
a repeat
crazy
offender
idea.
and you are held.
You're held.
Judges have
where would
judgment.
you put them in, like a Rikers or something?
In a
5 times?
jail.
And there's
I
no,
like how he
uh,
goes immediately to Rikers. He doesn't just say like
Yeah,
held
that's
in
just
jail
such
or
a
prison.
shitty
Like,
way of arguing.
let me bring up one of the worst prisons of all time, and pretend that that's where we're gonna put people.
Yeah, they just get sent straight to Rikers. Just straight there.
Just straight to Rikers. Where else are they gonna go? I mean, it's Rikers or nothing. Am I right?
Yeah.
No, you're not right. Shut up.
Uh-huh.
There's no dollar figure, right? We just.
Well, aren't you against cash bail because, you know, poverty?
Yeah, I
Got
I'm
him!
against cash bail.
Yeah. So I would want the judges, right now they can't assess dangerousness in the state of New York. I would want them to
Are
be able to
shoplifters
assess.
dangerous?
Yes.
According to you?
Yes,
they're repeat offenders, and
oftentimes
eventually a
dangerous.
bunch of these people, when confronted, get into physical altercations, and people have been killed over that. I've covered multiple stories of Home Depot workers being killed. We find out that the person behind the theft that led to killing that worker was arrested a bunch of times for these so-called petty crimes. You could have got them off the streets, and then somebody dies over.
Oh, flip through
Some
your notes.
poor
Flip through your
person
notes.
who
Hurry!
works,
You gotta
for
find it. Oh, he
whatever,
showed us the
$15
papers.
an
We
hour,
saw him,
and
babe.
gets killed by somebody who wanted a power drill. So yeah, I want those people off the streets for sure.
So what do you think drives crime?
What I think drives crime?
Yeah.
Well,
what
I
creates
think
crime?
policy. I think public policy has a big impact. There are people that are opportunistic that will commit crime if they think there are no consequences, whether they be social,
Yes,
or whether they be
consequence-less
through the criminal
crime.
justice system. And I've broken this down. You can think of it as a pyramid with 3 layers. The lowest part of the
Don't
pyramid
forget Waffle
is the
House.
criminal justice system, the actual consequences. And the reason why this is one of the lowest deterrents is and by the way, I'm not
The fact that you don't know where an employee was stabbed during a thing is probably the worst part. Ugh, that's so sad. Fucking people dying over shit. Who should I give the angelic robe to? I still haven't decided yet.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe Pent. Just make him like extremely good.
Super Pent.
Yeah.
Probably do an Iron Lance to keep. I already did an Iron Lance. Give it. I don't want to give her a Killer Lance. I don't think. Maybe just more jab.
Yeah.
Is the voice in his head like Strong Bad though? Chugga 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 my pepper. Chugga 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 my pepper.
not making this up. This comes from, like, you know, criminal justice theory. The reason why this is one of the lowest deterrents
I was
is
assuming, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you're not.
but I'm
making
just
up
I'm
the
just
other
saying it's
stuff,
not my
but-
it's not my theory. But the deterrence
Not
doesn't
my
really
theory.
work. It's not really that effective because most people, when they commit a crime, don't think they're going to get caught. The
Right.
next stage in that pyramid would be the social consequences. So if people will treat you like a pariah if you are arrested and convicted of a crime, that is a stronger deterrent against you committing crimes. And then the third, the top of the pyramid, the number one thing is if you believe that the law is moral and or just, that is what's going to prevent you from criminality.
Oh, that's a good point. If
Okay,
you
and
actually
so,
think the law is
it-
good.
If you live in a
That makes
society
sense to me.
where, like, everybody lives in around you lives in extreme poverty, do you think that numbers? I think, like, was it 2 and 3 on your pyramid? I mean, in other words, like, so what would you do if I put you in charge of?
Yeah,
of
you're in
social
charge now.
policy
Just
and you could be-
solve
you could be
all
king
the
for a day,
problems.
or you know,
Yeah,
a
what's
couple
your
weeks or whatever it
solution
is.
for everything?
What would you do? Would you?
This
what
is
would
good
you
though,
do
because
to-
actually
to-
I don't
what do you
know
think the most
what
effective
Sean's
thing you
answer
could
is
do
here.
to fight? Like you say, there's always going to be some folks.
Stop talking! You just said what would be your solution. End of the question. Why are we still mumbling?
By the way, you need to not go attack the boss in the top right corner.
Okay.
Let them live.
my plan was to go south, unless attacking the boss stops the waves. Would that would
It
be
doesn't.
nice.
It won't. You
But
just need to let them live.
My
It's, like,
plan was
beneficial.
this village here first. Kill this
I mean-
guy,
Don't know if that has anything good in it.
but I think I can kill that guy without being a danger if I use Farina. But we'll see. The main reason because you're gonna fucking die. Looking at her stat. Look at these stats. Oh, they've all got pluses. Why did she get pluses on all of them?
The weapon she's holding gives her plus stats because this game wanted to make her better without increasing her stats.
Oh, how to bitch move. She got a cool scar though.
There's a glitch where you can actually get that weapon from her,
Oh,
but
you could actually
don't
steal
pref-
it somehow.
but there's no way you're gonna.
Funny.
Who, I don't know, like living on the edge and committing crimes. But broadly speaking, what would you do?
How do you mean?
Well, you
Nice.
just worked out a
Good
a
counter,
pyramid for
Sean.
us. So put that into practice, if that's the pyramid that you believe in.
Again, like how do you mean? Like I just told you what prevents people from committing crimes. Like how would I put that into practice? Are you talking about from a law enforcement point of view? It would depend entirely where I am because crime is different depending on the city. It's very much down to the local municipality. So if I was designing an intervention for New York City, it would be completely different than an intervention for the city of St. Louis or the city of Chicago. So again, like what do you mean?
Okay, what would you do in New York City, let's say, to deal with crime?
Arrest
I mean,
'em.
Like I mean, I guess like when we're looking at the causes of crime, here,
Unlock
and
the
you just
judges to
laid out
arrest
some type
them.
Of pyramid. It sounded like you discounted the
Use it on
punishment
Lynn.
one, which was the widest one, right? I mean,
Yeah,
my
well,
understanding that-
deterrence actually, but yes.
yeah, but that doesn't deter. You don't think that deters because people don't think they're going to get caught.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think they're going to get caught. So that's
so,
why
so
I'm in
it's
favor.
not a function of cops in
No,
terms
I,
of like
no, you misunderstand.
Yeah.
Deterrence is not that effective of a strategy from a law enforcement level, but that doesn't mean incapacitation is not an effective strategy. So
so locking up
incapacitation
more
would
people.
would be removing repeat offenders.
And so locking up more people, but how would you get there? I guess is what you're talking about.
The first thing I would do in the state of New York, because again, it is dependent on the area, is that I would get rid of bail reform law and allow judges to have judgment. I think it's ridiculous.
Yes, I
the way
knew
we
it.
Operate in the city of New York. If we're concerned about people that are poor that can't afford the
Let
bail
judges
for lower
judge.
crimes, I understand that. I would reduce the bail amounts, but what I
Get it.
need is for the judges
Get
to
it.
be able to assess dangerousness.
Dangerousness. So you're only talking violent crimes.
Or repeat offenders, like the
It's
original
only
bail
the
reform
violent
only
ones,
amended it to remove
right?
certain
Not the
things. Didn't even
non-violent
factor in
ones.
bail jumping as a crime
That's-
that could get you held. So if you didn't
Says
show up
something.
for court,
So that's all
But
you're
now
talking
that's
about.
changed. When did that change?
they might have changed that.
So that thing you said 2 seconds ago, is that all you're saying? Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. You got it.
I know we've been talking to like an hour, but like that thing you just said.
So is
the
that your
core of
only
this?
point? It's like,
So that's why we're here, because of fucking violent offenders. Nothing else.
Removing repeat offenders would be tough because people would know if I do this more than once and get caught, I might be next in the popo.
Yeah. So
But if they take the
stop
stuff
committing
and then try to
crime.
fence it to acquire, say, drugs, doesn't that tend to end up being upgraded? So you're saying that they let them get away with the crime in order to then punish them with more crime next time? Is that the idea that I'm hearing there? Not a fan of that idea. Like I think you should arrest people that are committing crimes, period, and trying to be like, oh, now you've committed bigger crime. Only if you're like if you're on a squad and you're hunting down a drug ring and you see them steal some lady's purse, maybe let them continue with that one because you're like working on like a drug sting. But if you catch someone stealing something, just arrest them, send them to a judge, have the judge figure out what's gonna go on with them. I don't think it's all that difficult necessarily. You remember seeing, reading, or hearing law enforcement would say that drug seekers that steal to pay for their habits tend to end up committing violent crimes. Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. This is different than the rich kid that just wants to get a blow. Yeah. But if you catch them stealing the first time and you arrest them and they go to jail for some amount of time, you lowered the amount of time that they have on the streets where they could commit that next crime. So I think you still, come out on top when it comes to all that.
Maybe.
Eh? 92?
That specific portion, but I know they
Don't forget
removed.
that,
They used to have
Priscilla
aggravated
can't die.
vehicular manslaughter as a charge that was not bail eligible, and they did change that. So, like, yeah, there have been some changes to it. They actually update it every year around April when the budget comes in. So I'm not exactly sure which specific crimes, but I want judges to be able to assess repeat offenders. I don't want to be in a position where they cannot hold somebody as long as they commit this crime, and then they're incentivized to recommit the same crime over and over again.
So you want, let's say,
Forced
you'd be
drug
okay with,
rehab?
Like,
That does sound good.
judge's discretion on bail if it's someone who has been arrested for 5 times on the same crime. Is that it?
Yeah,
Judges
depending on the crime, of
discretion
course.
for bail.
If it's jaywalking,
Period.
I don't care about jaywalking.
You don't think people should be
Why? Yeah.
arrested for
Why do you
jaywalking?
need to pin him down on a specific number of crimes?
What if
that
they
you
commit the
need-
crime 3 times?
Hey, you want to hear a joke? 23. Like, fucking hell. This guy's literally fucking SpongeBob and Patrick trying to figure out a fucking number.
I mean,
True.
even ticketing, it's New York City. I mean, everybody crosses every which way, you
Right.
know.
But you think that's the most important thing, bail reform.
I think bail reform is a huge deal in the state of New York, and it impacts almost every county. I believe when the governor's race was going on, we had something like 98% of counties, or 98 out of like.
You kind of think it's not the number of counts, but the number of arrests and times being processed. I think Sean's entire point, if I can summarize it, is let the judges judge. And right now, the judges aren't allowed to judge. I believe what he's talking about is in New York, statutorily, they cannot make a judgment based on the history of the offender. And
Yeah, it's
just
lame.
unlock them to be able to judge based on the history of the offender. It's simple. We pay judges to do judge work. Let them judge. Let the boy watch. Problem is that the people needs to want to quit in order to be effective. Otherwise, it's just a revolving door. Oh, you're talking about rehab.
Yeah.
101 counties. I don't remember exactly how many counties, so it might have been a percentage that saw an increase in crime.
So you discount the bottom part about deterrent on that pyramid. What was
Yeah,
the
deterrence
second?
is the lowest and one of the least effective.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't get why that's on the. But
I don't get
the
it.
bottom that you think is
Yeah,
the
we
least
know.
effective.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure
And
what
then
you
the
meant
middle
by
one
that.
is what's the next one?
That would be like societal pressure. If you feel like
why
you're
go that
going
way?
to be an outcast from your
That's
community,
towards the boss.
But oh, that's right. The boss is a.
Yeah, you just ignore the castle.
Oh, okay. Got
And
it.
give Lynn that damn heaven seal, because it's good.
Who has it right now?
Hector.
Oh,
But he can't use it.
why can't he use it?
Because he ain't ready.
He ain't ready.
He ain't the guy yet. Lynn's the guy.
Oh. I'll wait for the second opinion just to make sure that I'm true.
No,
on
no,
that.
like Serrano's 100% agrees. Hector can't use it. Elliott's kind of ass right now. Just use on Lynn.
He says because story reasons.
Yeah, that's why Hector can't use it. You gotta use Lynn.
Okay.
Or Elliewood. You can choose to use Elliewood. Use on Elliewood. But those are your choices.
But I don't want to save it for later.
No, you get one for each later.
Okay.
Or yeah, you get one for each total. But you gotta choose who to use on first.
All right. I'll do that.
Or treated like a pariah, like the social pressure that keeps you in line.
Okay, and then social pressure, right? And so, how
hold
would
on to
you
that for a second.
increase? How would you increase that social pressure?
You know,
Well, I think we
pressure
should
them socially.
Do more to stigmatize criminals for sure.
Would-
Like, we should
how would
stop
you
doing this.
stigmatize? How would you stigmatize?
Well,
criminals
I
more?
would stop treating them like
God,
they're
you
Aladdin,
sophist
like your
fuck.
co-host does, where they're just like thieves with a heart of gold.
Blade
I
Lord.
would stop like sympathizing with them and
How
sympathize
many-
with the victims.
Okay, so we.
And I can
in
use
the,
both.
In the case of
That's
shoplifting,
cool.
we should sympathize with like Walmart or something more, and
We should sympathize with the community who has to pay for
Ooh,
that in higher
support.
prices, or the people who lose their jobs because these stores shut down. We should sympathize with these
you
people
think
that have to
stores
end
shut
up
down
that have
because
to
of
end up traveling further due to the fact that there's a
Was he about to say, do you think stores shut down because of like theft? The answer is yes. There's entire areas where stores are leaving because they're getting too much theft.
AJW just did a fucking video on this too.
Oh, I bet.
Like days before this, he did video on it.
Oh, finish that question, Sam. I want to see you get your ass blown out.
stores in their area. Yeah, we should sympathize with them rather than the opportunistic thieves.
Okay, and so you think that there's thieves out there that Emma's walking amongst, and they're all like
That Emma's
Emma-
walking amongst? No, I would never say that. I would never think she would actually.
You
live
think the
amongst
thieves are
criminals
watching
that
the
she
show?
protects.
You think the thieves are watching the show and they're going, "It's okay."
No, there's a it's not just the majority report per se, but there's this general dismissive nature towards these retail thieves. Like you can see it on
How is
every,
this not
on every
obvious?
reply in the
Exactly.
videos. Like now, there's
Has
people
that
that are
changed over
definitely
time?
against it.
Has that changed over time?
I think yes, people have become more sympathetic to people.
When Anna Kasparian comes out and says, I was assaulted in public, and everyone's like, don't be racist, I think we can all agree there's a problem with how people are perceiving this. Like that, I remember that whole thing was just, that was insane. And then to have it come out that they were white guys and it was like not even a race thing if you tried. It was even more of a like, okay, what is the point here?
And possibly due to the fact that we had the pandemic, so the excuse is that these
Well,
people
wait
are
a second,
struggling.
dude. Why was there this huge drop in crime?
Fire mitigation. Discover sellinc.com.
Why was this huge drop in crime? Why did that take place? So in 1990, for instance,
That's a cool
let's
bow.
say, or 87, people were
Okay,
too
Luis is pretty
sympathetic
cool.
to
Yeah, we like
shoplifters,
Luis.
and
And
then in the 90s, later in the 90s, they were less sympathetic to shoplifters, and that's why it went down.
Well, no, there is an overall sentiment change. I mean, for you to not acknowledge this is ridiculous. Like, go look at Joe Biden on the floor of the Senate pushing the crime bill and listen to the way Joe Biden talks about crime now. I want
Crime
to
was
date
high. My point is, crime was higher
1990s Joe Biden. Yeah, they're
1990s
passing a law. They're passing
1990s
a
Joe
law.
Biden was harsher on crime, and
Yes,
crime
yes.
began to drop precipitously.
Yes.
Yes.
Crime started to drop,
Okay.
or drop nationwide.
Are
after
you
that
are you
crime.
tracking here,
Oh, I see what
Sam?
you're saying. And then
Oh, I see what you're
and
saying.
then crime shot up. Like when did
wheels
we
are
start as
turning.
a society? Just in the past 2 years have we gotten more sympathetic to
I
shoplifters?
do think people have become more
like a
sympathetic
penny
to
press.
criminals and less sympathetic to the police. 100%. I
But
don't know about your
is it
coverage.
is it about the police or is it about the criminals? I thought it was
Well, we're
really
talking
about
about
stigma.
It's about the
attitudes
police
related to
criminals.
crime in the criminal justice system. So yeah,
Okay.
when I talk about retail thefts, there's a lot of excuse making. I'm sure you have people on your staff that have said it's no big deal, or my favorite one where it's like wage theft actually is more than the retail theft. You know,
Why
as
is
if
that-
wage
why are
theft
you
isn't
mocking
spread
that?
out over the entire
Why
economy.
would you mock that? Because it's mockable. We've looked it up before. I think vehicle theft outpaces wage theft when you look at the numbers. Like it's not even like a blip and these people act like it's the end of the world.
But it is.
It's the end of my world. Sam's wheels need more time to turn.
Simple said, I got wage theft, then I sue.
He thought that was lube, Geminire. It wasn't lube.
He's level 4.
He did it. Woohoo!
As if that has anything to do with what we're talking about in the first
Well,
place.
wait a second. You just said the problem. You just said the problem.
You just said
with shoplifting is what it does to the community. You don't think? You don't think wage theft? There is like.
Shut up, background guy.
Understand wage theft to be on an annual basis.
Well, I know that you guys like to use the 2013 chart because it has a very big disparity that comes from the Economic
What do you
Policy
think
Institute.
the wage? Well, I mean, it's not just the Economic Policy Institute, but what do you put wage theft at?
I would put it at the tens of billions. I think the number that you guys often cite is around 50 billion. Even
Tens
though
of
what you're citing
billions?
is
I don't even know if
wages
that's
recovered,
true.
But you
No,
know, why
the
we
wages
discussed
recovered.
other-
it
Wages
probably is.
recovered was closer to I think 20 billion, but the
Closer to
annual,
20 bill.
I mean,
20
the
billies.
estimates I've seen are anywhere from like $3 to $6 billion annually, because you don't always recover it. I mean, at all. But you think that
The
loss
recovered would be
of
20 billion, but the annual
20 billion
total
over
would
the
be
course of
6
10 years.
Over the course of 10 years.
Yeah, that's the stat that the DOJ. Puts
Even if he believes there's wage
The,
theft, this is
but
two different crimes
the
potentially, and in
point
theory you
is, like,
prosecute
I just wanna
both.
be clear.
Oh my gosh, Veritax, you would
Shoplifting-
prosecute white collar and blue collar crimes? What kind of crazy centrist argument is that?
hurts a
Yeah, that's
community
weird.
more.
I don't like that.
Goofball,
Then
no,
people-
get out of here.
More, it's just a different
We're gonna put you in a
problem.
home
So
for
what
talking
you're
like that.
doing
Well,
is
it's crime.
so what you guys
Baby's
do
getting
is
Is
I
that not
talk about a
crime?
problem, or someone like me talks about a
But
problem.
wait, Sean, is that
and then
not
you
crime?
say, "Hey, look at
Don't
this
get
other
meta.
problem
Don't get
because
meta.
two
Just
wrongs
address-
makes a who
Don't
cares."
get mad.
Don't get meta. Just address the issue.
Oh, don't get meta.
This is
I
wage
told him
theft,
not get mad.
right? We both agree it's a crime.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it, and I'm in favor of
Well,
them
it's
recovering
illegal.
it and
It's not just.
prosecuting
It's
it.
not. It's
Yes.
illegal. Okay.
I just said I'm
So-
in favor of the
so-
prosecution of it.
And in fact, we're talking about the same people too, right? Like, because when you say, well, people don't
Are we?
sympathize with a corporation when there is shoplifting and it's going to hurt the workers there and the community because of high prices and presumably, high
can I
prices
kill
are going
all of
to
them?
hurt low-income people more than
Well,
others.
to be clear,
Well,
we're
I
not.
just want to be clear. I just want to be clear what you're
just wanna
saying.
be clear.
We're not talking.
That
Baby
is-
can't do
how
white
is
collar
that
crime.
really not hitting the exact same players.
Well, Sam, we're not talking about the same people because, again, wage theft is spread out over the entire economy. When we talk about retail theft, that typically, now I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, involves the retail sector. So what you're actually doing
Where do you
is
think
expanding the
wage theft is
denominator.
highest?
I would think probably in government contracts, a lot of these have issues with the Davis-Bacon law where they're underpaying. It
Yep.
probably is in major
Yep.
corporations. where
Oh
they're
man,
getting overtime.
look at those eyebrows. Let me look and see who's cutting the budget in Congress. Why? Oh yes, I finally get to talk about how Republican bad. Don't give him this opening, Sean. Don't do it. Oh, he did it though. He opened it up.
I think it's in a lot of different places, but I do know that a lot of illegal immigrants in the United States of America are entitled to the wages under Davis-Bacon, and they often get cheated. And it is a great moment years later, although sometimes their lives are ruined, when investigators find out that they're backdated pay and they give them a huge check. So I would think it happens in multiple different sectors, not just retail, but yeah, and it has multiple different forms.
I mean, all right. So
hold
you're
on,
just
I
keying
got
in on shoplifting. That's the crime. The
Well, when we
retail
talk
He just filled a bucket. You can tell, right? Right here.
Theft, that typically, now I'm
Hold on, let me pause it. All right, you ready? Here it comes. He's about to fill a bucket.
not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, involves
And-
the retail sector. So what you're actually doing is
Where do you think
expanding the
wage theft
denominator.
is highest?
I would think probably in government contracts, a lot of these have issues.
Whoa!
with the
Filling that bucket. Look at those eyebrows, and you can tell that his background bros were like, "Oh shit, yeah, the government is underpaying all these people, and we can't link it directly to Republicans. Sorry," because he doesn't go back to it. Oh man, that's a good moment,
Underpaying
Sean.
and
Way to get
wages
that from
paying the
him.
You're just keying in on shoplifting. That's the crime. The
Well, when we
retail
talk about
sector
retail theft,
crime.
we typically talk about retail theft.
No, I understand.
You're doing a two wrongs makes a who cares.
No, I'm just saying. I just find
That's
it
a great.
curious.
I like that.
But
That's my method.
That's fine. You were
Two
the one
wrongs
who
make
brought
a
up
who
wages.
cares.
I just
Well,
want to be clear.
yeah,
on that.
because it's a
I
common
didn't-
retort by people who are trying to
Don't
deflect
get
off
so
the issue.
meta. Then we won't get hung up on these things.
It's also,
and so-
nobody talks about stealing from your employer, which many years is actually higher than wage theft. But there's that too.
Okay.
And he's not.
Yeah, I
he's gonna
don't,
skip that
I
one.
guess nobody. talks
And we
about
move
it.
on.
Not on the charts that you present from the Economic Policy Institute.
I mean, dude, you brought up wage theft.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
it's
know
a
what to
common
tell you.
Yeah,
retort, I've
and
seen it
defeated
brought
your
up on the
argument.
show.
What now?
Well,
Yeah,
wage
it's
theft
one.
is
It's
an
an
issue.
argument you make.
I never
But
said it
we've
wasn't.
also brought up, that corporations lie about how much they're getting, how much they're suffering from
Do it.
from petty theft. I mean, Walmart, I think executives admitted that on a call with financiers. They
Walgreens.
blow it up.
So you're talking
Walgreens.
about a Walgreens executive where
Yeah.
he said, or she, I don't remember, I think it might have been a woman, that it was that we may have overstated this.
Oh,
on
I know
this
what the problem
specific
is. This
Walgreens
is-
call. But I do
they're talking
remember
too slow.
when Walgreens got into it with London Breed, who claimed that it was completely overstated, and they clarified about 4 times that they closed due to the
1.5
specifically in
good
San
enough.
Francisco. And honestly, it should be alarming that these stores are closing in left-wing cities disproportionately, considering the giant subsidy that they got from the vaccines. Remember, these corporations were essentially given welfare by being able to be the distributors of these vaccines. That draws people into the stores, and yet at the same time, there's a giant reduction in the number of storefronts in these areas. So you would think in places
I'm
where
sure
they actually
COVID had
higher-
nothing to do with the closure of those
Well,
stores.
COVID actually had everything to do with the boost in business because these were the distributors of the vaccine.
No, I understand they would distribute the vaccine, but you're also aware that, people's purchasing patterns changed dramatically during COVID. There's a lot of restaurants that closed. There's a lot
Yeah, I mean, they
of.
closed restaurants.
Well, what does restaurants have to do with the
All right, and so,
pharmaceutical industry?
You think we need to stigmatize
Criminals for sure, 100%.
criminals more, and that will do it. And how do you think we stigmatize criminals? Like what?
Unpaid OT, misusing exempt employees, failing to pay per diem when required. Yeah, and the other side, the employee that stays clocked in through lunch, the employee that fudges their time card. Well, they steal both ways. Is either one good? No, they should both be stopped.
What do you mean? He lets me do that. He let me do that.
Yeah. What do you mean? I just clock in at the beginning of the day. I clock out at the end of the day.
No, like he's told me to do that, so I don't mind doing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
he
different.
chill. Exactly. I also only take one break when I'm entitled to 4, but it doesn't matter.
4 breaks? Oh, like a 15, a lunch, a 15, and then if you're on long enough, one
Yeah.
more lunch.
Well, not the 4th one. It's 3 breaks or 2 breaks, but I only take 1 because who cares?
Yeah, that gets there are some jobs I've had where it's like, let me just finish the job, and then I'll worry about breaks.
Exactly. I take my lunch break and then that's it.
That's an
I take my
important break.
15-minute lunch break. Yeah, and I just go into the kitchen and make myself food, and then I eat it, and then I just make sure that's 15 minutes because I'm autistic like that.
Good. That's a good kind of autism.
No, my last boss was a huge dick about making sure you're taking the exact amount of time you need for your break and shit.
Nice. It is you can get in a lot of trouble if your employees don't take their breaks. So I understand the
Yeah.
autism, but it is annoying from the employee side of things for sure.
Yeah, because the employee's just yeah, but I can just agree to work through my break, legally.
Oh yeah, the hour lunch. That's the one that I always liked Veritex. Plus, I've had jobs that'll pay the flat it's a 410. They'll pay you a flat 10 when you're done, and I'm like, the fuck, I'm taking a break. So I sign a little waiver that's yes, if the L&I comes in and is like, hey, you're not taking breaks, then I can say yes, I am not taking breaks. That is correct.
No,
Elliewood, you can't
there's
damage
actually
this
a guy at
guy.
my place that works double shifts. I don't even know if he clocks out for his hour-long lunch break.
Oh man, Elliewood
'Cause he
could
does
die if I leave
full
him
day shift.
to not do anything.
Yeah, he's only level 4. Maybe he gets a Seraph robe.
Yeah, just so that I don't lose him on accident.
I mean, it probably won't even help, really.
what part of society? Like, we know that there's, and you don't believe, do you believe there's a correlation between poverty and extreme poverty with crime?
Yes, I know for a fact that crime drives poverty in the United States of America. And
Oh,
there's a
boom!
correlation.
Do you
Eaten
think that there is a
by
correlation
facts
between
and logic.
that poverty drives crime?
Yes.
No.
I'm sorry,
Do you
crime drives
believe the
poverty.
opposite?
No, okay. I'm asking you specifically. I know that you're arguing that you think crime creates poverty, but I'm asking you now, do you think that poverty creates crime?
I think in certain circumstances, I'm sure it could happen if you go down to a certain level for sure. But I think that
What does
in
that
order
mean
to
if you go
build,
down to a certain level? What does
yeah,
that mean?
if you're like, well, we have like, well, actually, even that is a bit of a dubious notion. So like American poverty, like you would acknowledge, is relative poverty compared to poverty in like the third world.
I mean,
If you understand that somebody in the United States of America
Yes.
in poverty would be under $12,000,
Say yes.
which would be different from somebody who's living on $1.50 a day. Like
well, you
under
understand
$12,000.
that poverty is really a function of purchasing power, right?
What?
purchasing
Poverty is
power
a
could have an
function of purchasing power.
that's-
Are you trying to? Are you
Yeah,
trying to
all-
get?
all poverty measures
Yeah,
are
yeah.
a function
For,
of,
you can
of
you
the
can adjust
state,
it for yeah, sure.
I mean, I mean, if you have no stories, you know nothing, so, that's not really relevant. But okay, yes, I understand that.
You
Yes,
typically need
if
a
you are living in America and you are poor, theoretically, well, you have access to more stuff.
Not
than, let's say, you live
theoretically.
somewhere else.
You do have access to better stuff.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, and
Period.
Yeah, so you're talking about relative poverty. So I'm saying at a certain amount, yes, when there's like genuine desperation, like I could see circumstances where that's happening. But what we typically see
Ugh,
is
that
that crime
seems
is driving the
risky.
poverty. Like when these people steal from their
Yeah.
areas, when
what
they
do you
damage
think
places.
drives crime?
What I think drives, I think people, a certain percentage of the
People
population
drive
is going
crime,
to be criminal,
like
they're
a
going to be removed
car.
from society. So I would say human nature would be a good example.
Human nature?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
small percentage of the population that exhibits like a deviant kind of behavior.
Okay, so what do you think drives the majority of crime?
I just said that.
Oh, you think it's just people who are born
That's
criminals?
me. I'm the
I wouldn't say
bad
born
boy.
criminals, but people who, when you don't have the proper deterrents in place,
I'm a
will commit crimes, yes.
bad guy.
And those deterrents could be police deterrents, like I said earlier,
Okay,
or
wait,
social deterrents,
but
or whatever.
not like everybody is
Fucking
subject to the same deterrents,
The
right?
Fed.
Not necessarily.
Feds do it.
Explain this.
I'll give
because
you, so I'll give you an example. So in New York City, disproportionately, the people who live in public housing
What
happen to be
drives
Orthodox
crime?
Jewish people, right?
The
They do
ATF?
not commit crimes
Right.
at the same rates as other demographics. They're in fact among the lowest. They commit crimes near around where Asians do. So they're probably better than your average middle-class white person in the city of New York. I think that they have a stronger social structure
Nice dodge,
than other
Hollywood.
groups in the United States of America, even if
Oh
they're
hell yeah!
equivalent in
You ain't
poverty
gonna
levels.
double but
So if I was to look at like the incarceration rates of black people, for instance,
Sure.
relative to white
Oh,
people,
we
your
did.
argument would be that there's
Was that a
something
crit
fundamental
and it
about their
didn't even
social
kill the
structure
guy?
that is
Yeah.
why that we see those incarceration rates high.
Well, it would be based on their behavior for the one-to-one, but if you're asking me for like an underlying cause to the behavior, which by the way I don't care about because root causes are not more important than any other cause. Let's be clear about that. So this is just like another rabbit hole, pointless like argument that has nothing to do with the subject matter, in my opinion. It's not useful or productive. But yeah, I would say that there are definitely.
How did I
cultural
miss an
differences
83?
between- what were the groups?
Get outta
You said
here.
Black Americans and white Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely cultural differences between Black Americans and white Americans, and more tolerance to criminality. And by the way, there's differences between Black New Yorkers and Black people in Chicago, and that's also reflected in the rates. And I think that does lead to different outcomes in terms of criminal justice.
And you think it's unrelated to things like poverty or systemic racism or?
Well, if we have, so if we're
Ah,
going to use
yes,
poverty as the metric,
systematized
and we compare
race.
poor Black Americans to poor Asians or poor Hispanics, and by the way, Hispanics commit more crimes on average, but less than Black Americans, then obviously poverty is not the determining factor if the crime rates vary wildly
well,
within
I have
groups
an
in the same
analogy for
status.
you. When you build in a house
Oh, that's way cooler.
and you have different, you have
You've never built a house in your damn life, Sam Cedar. I
we're aware.
doubt it. You have moved your ass to Hollywood or New York and tried to pursue your acting comedy career, and now you're here and you're gonna act like you got some kind of blue collar. When you're drilling joists so that you can run wire, when you're stuck with the broom because you're the new guy, then you can talk about when you build a house. You know shit about building houses. This is like, I heard a freaking clip on one of these the other day that was like, it was Vosh. He's like, I bet this isn't even to code. They didn't even do it to code. And I was like, fuck code. Who cares about code? Code is just a way for them to tax you more. Hate it. Welcome, Jab. Thank you for the haircut. Sam built a sand
Thank you
castle
for
with
the
his
haircut.
bucket. Oh, those poopy castles.
different foundations and you
Merci
pull one
beaucoup
out.
for the
So I
haircut.
mean, poverty
Yeah, I think
may
with the
not
key
be the
interval-
determinant, but maybe when you mix poverty with other sort of like structural factors in society, people have less reason to feel a stigma about crime or less reason to be invested in society. But
Like,
you don't
Can
subscribe
you
to
give
that.
an example
Can I give an example?
Yeah.
of this other factor?
Well, I mean, I think that like if
Yeah,
you have
Kanye
been stuck in
West.
extreme poverty for extended periods of time, if you live in a society where it is harder for you to find housing or loans or to get out of a specific area in which you're living, if you have been subjected to a socialization that labels
Why-
you as a criminal.
So socialization labeling you as a criminal, and you're just like, well, guess I am. What makes them think they're a criminal?
The socialization.
Or that your activity just walking
If you sleep on your side, I bet you hate your
Pillow Cube commercial. I told you it's Pillow
It might be
Cube.
as fluffy as a cloud, but
around is criminal, that it might create.
What is socialization anyway? It's your family. It's your family.
They're all about that fam.
Who's being arrested for walking around?
Well, not arrested, but harassed. I mean, I think you wouldn't deny it.
Kanye
Your
is.
argument would be there's more violent crime in certain areas, and that's why there's more cops. But we also know that, I mean, if you're a black teen and you're walking the streets in some neighborhoods, you are far more likely to get stopped and harassed by the cops than if you're a white
I
teen.
wouldn't say harassed, but you are more likely to interact with police. Yes,
Okay.
there's more police there.
I mean, I think from the perspective of that person who is interacting with the police after having.
Yeah, I
done
think
nothing,
they've been
they perceive it as harassment.
harassed.
For
You
sure.
would-
If I was a law-abiding person in a black neighborhood and I had to interact with the police due to the fact that criminals are acting up in my neighborhood, then that would get under my skin. I mean, I have.
But if you were like pulled over in like your car, I mean, I've told this story on the show many times, but I was an actor back in the day.
I
And that's still
was.
an actor, buddy. Just because there's a strike doesn't mean that they're not going to result.
No, that's true. I do some voice work, but nevertheless, I was on a sitcom at one point, and it was a majority black cast. And one of the buddies was we went back to his place and we
The
pull
buddies.
in into the underground driveway parking lot, and
The
a buddy of his
hombres.
pulls in behind us, and he's got one of those Range Rovers, and at that time that was a very popular car in L.A. with like the Hollywood set, and this is back in the '90s. And he pulls in, he's like, "Thank God you're here. I just got I was getting followed again by the cops. I've been pulled over 4 times in the past 2 months."
Oh, no.
And they checked to see if I own the car. And I called the police department to see if I could get a sticker or something. And
They always check to see if you own the car. That's part of the start of the thing is license and registration. Is this car yours? Have you been in control of the car the whole time? All of these things are part of a normal ass stop. It happens to me every time.
No, they aren't. No.
When I drove ratty ass racers, when I drive nicer cars, it's all the same. Garbage.
Have you considered that they racist though?
You know what? I had forgotten that part. That they racist dough.
See, stay winning, boys. You just gotta
So the
remind.
sergeant literally said, "Are you black?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "There's nothing I can do." Now, if you're a law-abiding citizen and you're driving the car that you earned and you bought the car and you're getting that type of harassment, you don't think it impacts your perspective on society?
No, I think it does. And this is Los Angeles. And what time period?
Follow-up question, Sean. Did that guy commit crimes?
Well, of course.
Oh, well, I guess that it happens.
It was in the 90s.
No, I mean
there's
it's
obviously,
just
you know,
weird.
there-
But
It's a
you
weird
just
thing.
conceded to me that
Yeah, no, I
that
think-
this
I think
happens
that
to
impacts your
17-year-old
attitude, but I don't
boys in
I mean, you
New
could
York
call me
City.
crazy, but I don't think you're saying that your friend turned into a criminal because he was pulled over. He seemed like he was.
There it
being
is.
loyal.
There it
I think if that happened to me, and I didn't have a nice car, but rather I just got stopped every time I walk out of my house, or stopped, I don't know, once a month every time I'm out of my house, which is not
And
hard
then
to
you
find
start
as an
committing
experience.
rapes. Like I don't.
No,
where
I
you
would
going
start
with this?
having a far less respect for society and a far less perspective on that. Yeah, I definitely think that.
I mean, look,
don't know if I would rate, but
I understand you don't watch my like you don't watch any of my videos or anything like that. But I said repeatedly, I think the warning needs to be brought back in terms of policing. I think writing tickets for expired registration when you're in areas with elevated rates of shootings, all that does is piss people off and turn the community against you.
That is
so there's
true.
definitely better
We do
ways
hate
to
you when you
implement
do that,
policy to get the
cops.
community on your side. Like I've been a huge advocate for consent searches, which is and this started in St. Louis in the 90s, which is if you're afraid that your kid is involved in a gang or might have a gun or might get shot, they have a high rate of youth homicides, still high to this very day, then you can call the police, consent to a search. They'll look for contraband, but they won't arrest your kid. I think that, and they'll send your kid.
I
to
think this is a
diversion
great
before
idea.
they
I
get
actually
to
didn't
shooting
know
and all
about
that.
this.
So I think that is a good policy to build community relations with the police. Like the way that you're speaking is as if I
Yeah.
don't believe in that, even though I think that's absolutely crucial to the police being effective.
okay. All right. Well, I think this was productive, Sean,
Was it?
and I appreciate you coming on.
I don't believe you.
Are you happy? and
yeah,
go on to the
thank you.
debate.
Are you happy?
Thank you for having the
No!
conversation. Listen, I know you want people that have been ducking you and all that, and this is what prompted me to just ask for the conversation. I appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah, no,
You
I
didn't-
say yes to just about everybody. Maybe too much, but
yeah, and
I
you
do.
didn't, and you didn't have to do it. Like a lot of people immediately
Maybe
assumed
do
because
more.
I issued the challenge and like they didn't hear a like direct announcement on a billboard or something that like I was somehow entitled to it. I obviously not entitled to it. I thank you for your time. You've been quite gracious during the course of this conversation, even if there were parts where I felt like you were trying to get me on a gotcha. But thank you for your time.
Well, I mean, I was just exploring. I don't know what you mean by gotcha. I've never seen any of the other stuff you've done. But,
Shut up, dude.
I
Just
appreciate
I
it.
don't know
Actually,
what
I
you
got a
mean by
question for you.
gotcha,
Speaking of
but I mean, I'll
You're into
get
criminal
you.
justice, right? Or you don't like the criminal part, actual justice, right? You don't like the adjective beforehand. What did you think when and I will concede I did not see the whole Tim Pool interview with you guys, with you and Emma. Did you think that she was a pedophile after that conversation?
No.
So did you see that when Tim accused her of being a pedophile from what was said in that conversation?
I didn't see that specific clip, but I have heard about it. And if he said like she's a pedophile or whatever, then that's totally uncalled for and unprompted.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That sounded weird to me, but I
I don't
appreciate
like-
you're saying that.
I appreciated Tim having me on, but I don't like I'm not an employee of his or anything like that. Even though on the later show I said I moved into his property.
I did not see that, but have fun there. I heard he's got a great skate park.
He
All right, Sean.
does.
Sean.
I'm not a skateboarder, but it's a skateboarder's paradise, you know, presumably.
Nice. Okay, we did it. You didn't understand what he just said they did. They didn't do anything. That's the point. That's the problem. That's the Sam Cedar dilemma.